seen that coming.
The stage is set for the Air Magic Show in the NBA Finals. Starting Sunday, it'll be Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls against Magic Johnson and the LA Lakers.
Every NBA decade has its own flavor, but nothing matches the sheer magic and drama of the 1990s. From 1990 through 1999, we witnessed the game's greatest dynasties rise and fall. Legendary rivalries spark and fade, rule changes that reshaped play, and the globalization of basketball on every continent. Superstars became icons, coaches became cult figures, and fans were treated to moments so unforgettable they are still replayed and discussed today. In this 25-minute journey, we will relive the defining highlights of the decade, known simply as the greatest era in NBA history. In 1990, the league tipped off with 29 teams, including the newly minted Minnesota Timberwolves and Orlando Magic. Television partners NBC and TNT introduced fresh broadcasts, and the Chicago Bulls hired Phil Jackson, a no-nonsense coach with a Zen philosophy who looked like a hippie with his long hair and beard.
Sullied by sponsorship since 1980.
Yet would leave the league with 6 championships, more than any coach in history at the time. International talent finally broke through as players like Vlade Divac, Dražen Petrovic, Sarunas Marciulionis, and Alexander Volkov joined the league and paved the way for global expansion, even though their early minutes were limited.
Sacramento Kings select Purvis Ellison from the University of Louisville.
Meanwhile, David Robinson, the Admiral, finally reported for duty after his 2 years of naval service and immediately lifted the Spurs from a dismal 16 wins to 51 in what remains one of the greatest turnarounds ever. Michael Jordan was already 4-time scoring champion, but in 1990, he finished behind Magic Johnson and Charles Barkley in one of the tightest MVP races ever, illustrating the league's emerging balance. Dennis Rodman captured his first Defensive Player of the Year trophy, while Hakeem Olajuwon came in a close second. The Pistons, hardened by their bad boys persona and Jordan rules defense, crushed the Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals and went on to win back-to-back titles over the Lakers, proving that physicality could thwart even the greatest scorers. As the 1991 season dawned, the NBA introduced the flagrant foul and the Trent Tucker rule to guard against the miraculous 0.1-second buzzer shot. The Magic shifted back to the East Conference for travel reasons, and Hall of Famers Gary Payton and Tony Kukoc were drafted, though Kukoc stayed overseas a few years longer. That season saw Scott Skiles set the still-standing single-game assist record with 30, and Jordan finally broke through. The Bulls swept the Pistons in a clean series and then stunned the Lakers in the finals, as Scottie Pippen locked down Magic Johnson. Jackson's triangle offense clicked, and Jordan cemented his status as the league's supreme champion. Off the court, tragedy struck when Dražen Petrovic died in a car accident in June of 1992, just days before the Olympic Dream Team was announced. That roster of Barkley, Bird, Drexler, Ewing, Jordan, Malone, Mullen, Pippen, Robinson, Stockton, and Magic was basketball royalty at its apex, and when they dominated Barcelona with unrivaled talent and swagger, the world sat up and took notice. Legendary coach Chuck Daly wouldn't step into that role, and instead, the team's success sparked a new era of NBA global expansion as the Dream Team's influence soared. The Bulls entered 1992-93 seeking a three-peat, but Chicago's penchant for redemption reared again when Reggie Lewis and then Michael's father, James, were suddenly lost to tragic deaths, Lewis during practice and James Jordan under mysterious circumstances. Heartbroken, Jordan announced his first retirement in October 1993, citing loss of motivation and the call to pursue baseball. Overnight, the NBA lost its greatest star, and ratings dipped as fans wondered if the league could survive without number 23rd. In their absence, the Rockets and Knicks reigned. Hakeem Olajuwon led the Rockets to a surprising championship over Charles Barkley's Suns in 1994 with dominant defense and midnight basketball style, finishing the finals with a quadruple double of blocks, steals, points, and rebounds. In the East, Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing waged a ferocious battle that pushed New York into the finals against Houston. But Olajuwon again proved unstoppable. The league experimented by shortening the three-point line to 22 feet, which boosted shooting percentages but would be reversed a few years later. Dennis Rodman began his unprecedented 7-year rebounding title streak, Wearing number 45, he scored 55 points against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden, an instant classic that reminded the world of his brilliance. That spring, the Bulls, though aging on paper, made the playoffs but were upset by the Orlando Magic, led by a young Shaquille O'Neal and Horace Grant in the second round. That defeat, viewed by many as a humbling experience, drove Jordan to a level of relentlessness unseen before. In 1995-96, Phil Jackson returned with a rejuvenated Bulls team, adding Dennis Rodman in free agency and Larry Bird-like savvy. And Michael reclaimed number 23 to lead a roster that, coached by Tex Winter's triangle offense, logged an NBA record 72 wins. Jordan earned MVP, Defensive Player, and Finals MVP.
Sudden, this team started winning basketball games. 1 month went by, 2 months went by.
When you get to 17, 18, 19 wins, now people are saying like, wow, can they ever lose?
On the Pistons thing, that's my fault because I didn't get us prepared to run our automatics. And we got to Detroit and it forced us to play our offense 94 feet and we weren't ready. And we couldn't do it. And everything just capitulated from there. And that sits with me because we should have won that.
Pippen dominated the finals with savvy scoring and lockdown defense. And role players like Tony Kukoc, Steve Kerr, and Ron Harper emerged as vital contributors. This Bulls squad steered the NBA into true super team territory and reset the standard for excellence. Meanwhile, Shaq ascended as a force for the Lakers, earning his first scoring title as the league's most unstoppable interior weapon. The Mavericks and Clippers plummeted to record losing seasons. Rookie classes delivered generational talent. Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Ray Allen, and Steve Nash among them, ensuring that the late 90s landscape would be fierce. Trash talk reached new levels as Kobe's rookie year collided with Jordan's last dance. Coach Riley departed the Lakers for the Knicks, and the Bulls captured their fifth title in 1997, sweeping the Utah Jazz led by Karl Malone and John Stockton. That series produced the iconic Rodney Hood steal rebound and the epic Michael strip, along with the flu game in Game 5 of the 1997 Finals, where Jordan battled a 102-degree fever to lead Chicago to victory. In 1998, the league restored the three-point line to its original distance, revoked the illegal defense rule, and continued to celebrate innovation and flash. The Bulls survived rivalry after rivalry, Knicks, Heat, Pacers, and downed the Jazz in a 6-game finals, building to a dramatic Game 6 buzzer beater that solidified Jordan's perfect 6-6 finals record. The farewell press conference in the United Center bristled with emotion as fans chanted, "We want Phil," and "We want Mike," culminating in the Zen Master's retirement and Jordan's second shocking departure. Beyond Chicago's dynasty, the Spurs blossomed under Greg Popovich with David Robinson and then Tim Duncan, winning 50 games in 1997-98 and forging a culture of defensive supremacy. The Pacers with Reggie Miller and the Knicks with Ewing, Houston, and Starks kept the Eastern Conference thrillingly competitive. Chicago's departure opened the door for the Houston Rockets, Phoenix Suns, and Seattle Supersonics to vie for supremacy under prime Steve Nash, Charles Barkley, Shawn Kemp, Gary Payton, and Hakeem's final prime. Off the court, the decade was tumultuous. Owners and players locked horns 3 times over labor disputes, culminating in the devastating lockout of 1998-99 that reduced the season to 50 games and saw Michael Jordan officially retire for a second time, this time seemingly for good. Cities like Toronto and Vancouver welcomed new franchises, expanding the NBA to 29 teams and fueling worldwide growth. Women referees made history as Violet Palmer and Dee Kantner ushered in an era of diversity and inclusion. The 90s gave us faces that transcended sport. Jordan's scowl, Magic's smile, Barkley's barks, Barkley's spit, Rodman's tattoos, Dennis's hair colors, Seattle's Snoopy jerseys, Houston's big shot Barkley game winner, Allen Iverson's crossover on Jordan, Shaq's backboard-shattering dunks, Peyton's no-look defense, Divac's hook shots, Nowitzki's one-legged fades, Duncan's bank shots, Stockton's no-look dimes, and Miller's choke sign at Spike Lee. Memorabilia from this era still sells for thousands of dollars because each jersey jolted sparks, pure nostalgia for a time when basketball was raw, athletic grit and old-school toughness mixed with emerging global flair. By the end of 1999, the game had been fundamentally altered forever. The Bulls had reinvented team building around star two-way wings and dynamic coaching. The Dream Team had inspired millions to pick up.
The Timberwolves have never been to the finals. The Thunder last won the championship when they were the Seattle Supersonics in 1979. And as for the Knicks and the Pacers, in 1973, they were the champs of the NBA and ABA, respectively, and neither has won anything since. This has become a theme in the NBA, and it's a great one, because among the last 6 winners were the Nuggets and the Raptors for the first time each, and the Bucks for the first time in half a century. And in the meantime, look what's happened to recent efforts to construct super teams in Philadelphia, in Phoenix, in Brooklyn. None of them ever got out of the second round. None of them made the playoffs this year. Further, super teams tend to be old. The 6 oldest teams in the league this year were the Warriors, Celtics, Bucks, Suns, and Lakers. None of them are still in it. One of them didn't even make the play-in. So what does all this mean? It means the NBA got their rules right. They created something called the second apron. I'm not going to bore you with the details. Simply put, its goal was to create parity, and it worked. For too long, this league felt like a movie where you knew the ending before it began. Not anymore. Suddenly, it feels like a league where, as KG once said, anything really is possible. And to me, that is the best kind of league that you can be.
A ball. Free agency and salary caps had risen to ensure competitiveness. Expansion had planted seeds for Canada's Raptors and Grizzlies to grow. Michael Jordan's flurry of clutch shots, Phil Jackson's calm under fire, Scottie Pippen's selflessness, Dennis Rodman's tenacity, Shaq's dominance, Penny Hardaway's flair, Charles Barkley's passion, and so many others showed humanity's blend of talent and willpower. Every finals battle carried the weight of history, and each rookie brought fresh hope. Coaches from Riley to Popovich delivered enduring philosophies that still guide today's teams. When I look back, the 90s stand unrivaled. They begat legends and taught lessons that persist. Future stars would chase the ghosts of Jordan's legacy and push boundaries he set. Yet the essence of basketball always storms from that decade, when legends clashed on sold-out courts and the eyes of the world tuned in. The entire decade's story reminds us that basketball can mirror life's highs, lows, triumphs, and tragedies in each thunderous dunk and buzzer beater. If you want to glimpse the purest form of competitive spirit, watch any classic game tape from 1990 through 1999 and witness athletes who poured their hearts into every possession. From the roar of a finals crowd to the hush when a championship hangs in the balance, the 90s gave us the blueprint for modern greatness. As you reflect on a career highlight reel, ask yourself, would today's super teams and stars be able to survive the rigors of constant playoff wars, physical handoffs, and relentless media scrutiny that defined that era? That is why, for countless fans, players, coaches, and historians, the 1990s remain the greatest era in NBA history.